Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I'll be giving you guys an updated list on every single player the Washington Commanders have had a top 30 visit with, a local pro day with, or a private workout with, because the visits officially ended today, so we have a really good idea of all the different players that they're interested in. We'll talk about some themes amongst these players, and I'll bring up a few players that are notable. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content, hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video, and go ahead and check out my Twitter. Link is in the description. On the road to 1,000 followers. All this really helps out a ton. Now, let's get right into the video. Okay, so we are 8 days away from the NFL draft. And I believe all the visits are officially done. Today was the last day. I believe a couple people reported that. So there still might be a couple visits that get reported in the next couple days, but this likely is the finalized list of all the players the Washington Commanders met with or had local pro days with or private workouts. So I'm going to read the list, and some of these players, they're just trying to get more intel, in terms of if anything comes up in the future. A lot of these are medical things as well. Like, they might like the player, but they have questions about his medical history. Like maybe someone like John Mechie, who just tore his ACL, or Drake London, who they are interested in, but he has had a couple injuries as well. And there's other guys that they just want to see, they want to get to know the person a little bit more. And there's other guys they already know that they really like, and they don't really need to meet with them. So some players they didn't meet with because they either know that they're not going to be able to draft them because they're going to get drafted before 11, or they already know everything they need to know about that player. So let's go through. I've been, writing it down every time they meet with a guy. So let's go ahead and read off the names, and then I'll talk about some things I noticed. So Ohio State wide receiver Chris Olave, Alabama wide receiver John Mechie. All these ones that I'm reading right now are top 30 visits. Penn State offensive tackle Rasheed Walker, offensive guard Spencer Burford, Washington State offensive tackle Abe Lucas, Central Michigan offensive tackle Luke Godke, Penn State safety Jaquan Brisker, Michigan State running back Kenneth Walker III, Cam Thomas, Michigan safety Daxon Hill, Jalen Weidermeyer, Iowa State running back Breece Hall, Oklahoma defensive tackle Perion Winfrey, Texas A&M running back Isaiah Spiller, running back Brian Robinson, Tulsa offensive tackle Tyler Smith, LSU running back Tyrion Davis-Price, Drake London. I'm going to just read these names out because it's taken a while. Kaiir Elam, Notre Dame safety Kyle Hamilton, edge rusher Michael Clemens, wide receiver Garrett Wilson, D tackle Otito Ogbania. And then now we're getting into kind of the private workouts and Zoom sessions. So they met with Arkansas wide receiver Traylon Burks, but that was a Zoom meeting and a private workout. And they had a pro day, a local pro day with, I believe, like over 20 people. A lot of those guys are kind of like 6th to 7th round guys, so I don't want to write all their names down. But those, Nick Cross, safety from Maryland, and Boston College guard Zion Johnson, those are the two notable names from that pro day. And then Nevada quarterback Carson Strong and his teammate Cole Turner had a private workout for the team. And then Washington just met with Georgia defensive end Trayvon Walker. That's what was reported. So a long list of names. I would say some common themes are a lot of running backs. They met with a lot of running backs. I mean, you look down the list, Kenneth Walker III, Breece Hall, those are the top two running backs. Then you got Isaiah Spiller, another one of the top running backs, Brian Robinson, another top guy, Tyrion Davis-Price, LSU running back. So a lot of different running backs that they're meeting with, a lot of the top receivers as well. Let me go to the tweet I had with the running backs. So running backs, a lot of these guys are day 2 options. My opinion, I do not think we should draft the running back in the second round for sure. If we do, let's say we trade back in the first, we go from like 11 to 20, get like a second and a third round pick from the Steelers, then okay, I'll be okay if we take maybe one of the top 2 running backs in the third round. But I think we have, more important holes to fill, especially at, let's say, the linebacker position, wide receiver position, safety position, offensive guard depth, maybe some tight end depth, definitely D-line depth. I think all of those are more important than a day 2 running back. I still think adding a running back is important, but I think you can easily do that in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th round on day 3. Day 3 is the best value for running backs. Running backs are very replaceable. You can find them late round in the draft, undrafted free agents just in general. So I don't think it's the best choice to draft a guy in the 2nd round, in my opinion, unless you think he's an absolute stud. And even then, you can find studs in the later rounds, like James Robinson, undrafted free agent a couple years ago. He was the best running back of his class last year. Najee Harris was the first running back taken, and he was the best probably. But Elijah Mitchell was like the 2nd best in terms of like his stats, and he was a late round pick. So you can find good value in the late rounds, and I think that's what Washington should do. So that 4th to 7th round range, like Brian Robinson from Alabama, he's a bruiser, the type of running back I think we need. He would be a good option in that 4th, 5th round. We don't have a 5th round pick, but we should trade back. If we don't trade back in the 1st, we can do it in the 2nd or other spots to get some assets back. Damon Pierce, I believe that's his name, out of Florida. Been watching some of his film. He is a bruiser as well. He's another option kind of late in the draft as well. Abram Smith from Baylor, he is another guy that I really, really like, and he really intrigues me in the late rounds. He's a bigger back. I believe he had like 1,600 yards this past season, over 12 touchdowns, balled out in the Senior Bowl. Only reason he's kind of late round guy is he's a running back 1st, and 2nd, he only had good production in his last year. So, I mean, I'm willing to take a chance on a guy like him, and Brian Robinson's another option in that 4th round. I think a bruiser running back is what we need. I don't really think we need to prioritize pass catching because we have that in J.D. McKissic. Jarrett Patterson can do it fine. Gibson can as well. He has that ability. So I don't think we need a pass catching back. And Carson Wentz doesn't really even throw the running backs that much anyway. So that was one theme that I saw. Another one, they met with a lot of the top receivers. I mean, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Drake London. I mean, those are 3 of the top 4 receivers in this draft. You can add Jameson Williams in there as well, which I'm a little surprised they didn't meet with just because of the medical issue. I thought they would meet with him, and that's pretty telling in my opinion. If they didn't meet with him with his medical history, like with that ACL, then I really don't think he's in the running for them drafting him at 11. Like if he was, they would have met with him and gotten a better sense of his injury. So that is something that that you can take away from this list. They're likely not going to take Jameson Williams. Obviously, still a chance. They do these things sometimes on purpose to try to, confuse teams. So we'll see if that is the case. So that is another theme. They're meeting with a lot of the top receivers. Only kind of mid to, early round guy that wasn't a 1st round guy was John Mechie out of Alabama. I thought they would meet with some more guys. So, some other 2nd round guys like maybe George Pickens, maybe Sky Moore, maybe Christian Watson, Alec Pierce, guys like that are going to be, late 1st to mid 2nd, 3rd round picks. And, David Bell, so maybe that is telling that they're likely going to take a receiver. Who knows? I mean, if I had to guess, it's probably a receiver. Only player I think Kyle Hamilton, if he's there, they will likely take him. But it's looking like, from what John Kine is saying, Hamilton and London are the favorites to be drafted at 11. Kyle Hamilton, I would like him over London, and I like London. I don't know. He scares me a little bit. I think he's my 3rd best receiver in this class. So I would still like us to draft him. I would be fine with it, but I would much rather have Kyle Hamilton or Garrett Wilson, who John Keim said this, I believe, yesterday on his podcast. Their top receiver on their board, he believes, is Drake London, followed by Chris Olave. So they really like Drake London. So I'm secretly hoping someone takes Drake London before us, and then we take Garrett Wilson, but then maybe we take Chris Olave instead of Garrett Wilson, which I do not want. I like Chris Olave, not at 11, though. I much rather take Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, even, Drake London over Olave. I like Olave, but not at 11. If we traded back and got Olave, even at like 15, 17, I would really like that because we're getting back assets and it's a position need. but 11, in my opinion, is a little bit too rich for him, especially when I think there's going to be other receivers on the board that are better than him. Let's look at the list again. So Trayvon Walker is a little bit surprising. I think Ben Sinek said they're just trying to gather more intel on him. So, I mean, they're not going to draft him. They have literally zero shot of drafting Trayvon Walker. They're picking at 11. He's going to, probably get drafted at lowest 3rd overall. Let me see what Ben Stanek had to say. This is what he said. The Commanders' Walker meeting appears more information gathering than a signal of some major maneuver, but there was an attempt to arrange a 30 visit in Ashburn. So I guess, take that however you want to. And that's kind of, they're not drafting Trayvon Walker, just trying to gather more intel. I don't see the need to do that. Other defensive line players that they met with, Perion Winfrey, who kind of talked about right here, that could be a 2nd round option. I think that's a little bit too early, but if they see a dog there, if they think he's really good, you take him in the 2nd, and then you're probably trading Payne eventually. That would just be my thoughts right there. Cam Thomas is another guy, very versatile guy, all over the defensive line. I'm trying to see that Otito Ogbania, another defensive tackle. They met with a lot of offensive linemen as well, especially early on. You guys can see on this list, Rasheed Walker, Spencer Burford, Abe Lucas, Luke Godke. The only tight end they met with is Jalen Weidermeyer, who a lot of people think is going to go late in the draft. And they also met with Tyler Smith, another offensive tackle. Some safeties as well. Another position of need, Kyle Hamilton, Daxton Hill, and Jaquan Brisker, all players that I really, really like. Again, you guys know I love Kyle Hamilton. He's probably my number 1 player for the Washington Commanders. But another guy, if you take a receiver in the 1st, then maybe you can take someone like Jaquan Brisker in the 2nd round, or, I don't think he's going to be there in the 3rd, but if you trade back and get a 3rd or late 2nd, then maybe you can get someone like Jaquan Brisker. And Daxton Hill is a pipe dream because he's going to get drafted in the 1st round, so he's a possibility. If you trade back, I would not mind him at all. If, let's say, you trade back in the 20s and none of your receivers are there. Chris Olave gone, Jameson Williams gone, obviously Drake London and Garrett Wilson would be gone. Then, if you don't really like Treylon Burks, then maybe you can go ahead and take Daxton Hill. I wouldn't be upset with that at all. So those are kind of the common themes. Only 1 tight end, that is a position kind of of need, especially, getting some more depth there. So surprising, no really meetings there. Quarterbacks, the only quarterback they kind of met with is Carson Strong with a private workout, but none of the other top quarterbacks they had meetings with, so that is definitely telling. Another safety I missed, Nick Cross. So Nick Cross, Jaquan Brisker, Daxton Hill, and Kyle Hamilton. Nick Cross is kind of another 2nd to 3rd round option at the safety position. So a lot of last thing, not a single linebacker. So not a single linebacker that they met with. So that to me is, I don't know, a little confusing because I think that is, one of the biggest positions of need on this team. I mean, middle linebacker might be the biggest position of need, entering the offseason. I think that's a lot of what Washington fans were saying. Besides quarterback, middle linebacker is the biggest position of need, and they haven't addressed it. They have not addressed it, and they didn't meet with a single linebacker in this class. So, they could still definitely draft one. I think they will, but that to me is something that is very, very interesting. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn those notifications on so you never miss a video. And I'll, be posting something tomorrow, themed with the draft, talking about what other experts are mocking to us. So thank you guys for watching, and peace.